Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to do something a little bit more sensual, a little bit more playful. So I know Halloween is coming up and some of you guys may or may not celebrate that, but I wanted to do a video on maybe someone that does want to do costumes or someone that's really into more like lingerie and just wanted to do something like a themed lingerie. You can do this for a party, you can do it for yourself, you can do a photo shoot, you can do it for your man, whatever you're comfortable with. You can do it just for yourself and just play dress up and just see how you look in different different aesthetics and stuff like that. So I'm gonna give you guys some ideas or inspiration that you can take from on not just like costumes, but more so themes and archetypes and different pieces of jewelry and fashion that invoke a certain sense of femininity, because there's so many different ways to be feminine and all of them are so interesting. So these different outfits allow you to live through a certain, dare I say, like a limerence, like when you think about something and you just like kind of like obsessed with it a little bit, like you can really get into this character. I know some people like to role play in the bedroom and stuff like that, so if you're like into that, you could do that, or you could really just get into the character. Find maybe like an actress or a celebrity or someone that you like, or maybe even someone in your life that you know is like a sensual person, and follow that archetype and find maybe a costume or a themed lingerie set that matches that energy, and then just invoke that type of spirit, if that makes sense. So for example, I know that if I want to do something more like mermaidy and more like under the sea type vibes, I would think of the energy of Aphrodite, which is the Greek goddess of love. And then there's a lot of different deities from different backgrounds. There's Oshun and Yamaya. I think it's Yamoja or something like that too, where these spirits come from the water, and they have certain things that when you see them, you think of them. So I know for Aphrodite, it's like seashells and pearls and glitter and all this fun stuff. But I also like more like niche things that we're going to get into just in a minute. So if you're into stuff like this and you like to dress up and you like to have fun and see yourself in a different light and use yourself as a canvas and be the painter in the art, then you're definitely going to enjoy this video. So sit back and enjoy. So the first type of archetype I want to get into is the mermaid archetype. Some people refer to her as the siren. So it's really whatever vibe you want. If you do mermaid, you can make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more playful versus siren. You can make it a little bit more seductive, a little bit more alluring. So if you do want to do more of like the mermaid vibe, I would personally suggest pearls, iridescent, clear type of fabrics, things to like shimmer. When I think of like mermaid, I think of rainbow fish. I don't know if you guys remember that book, but just like a whole bunch of different colors, glitter, sparkles. I know some girls like to wear jewels on their face, and that kind of reminds me of like barnacles in a way. And you can really get creative with it. If you're like a quirky person, you can do different. You don't have to do like darker colors. You can do bright poppy colors. And when I think of under the sea, there's more than just pearls and seashells. I think of coral and how it's like a beautiful color, and how it has like this almost kind of like a highlighter, how it like pops out, how the color pops out. So you can definitely look into that if you want something more playful. But let's say you do want something more alluring. I would do like more like a dark smoky eye. I would do like wet hair, like that wet look, like how some people have like that wet look, but they do it on purpose and they put like oil in their hair and stuff, and like oil all over their bodies to give the illusion like you literally just came out of the water. So that would definitely be a cute aesthetic if you're into stuff like that. So the next theme that I'm really into lately is called like the angel theme. You can think Cupid, you can think just like regular angels. You can even get a little bit more biblically accurate and make it a little bit like more spooky, like more like I know you guys can look up what biblically accurate angels look like, but you can just make it look the way you want it to look. Like you can do like a fallen angel look and make it look like really sexy. So with this, I just think really it's whatever you want. If you want to go for like the more pure aesthetic, you can do that. I say dressing in all white, wearing different like layers, kind of like a petticoat, if that makes sense. You don't have to necessarily buy one. You can create this, like if you have like a white mini skirt, just put that underneath your dress and it'll give the illusion of like a puffiness, you know. So I also like feathers and stuff like that. Not too many because you want it to look more like wings, and I'm gonna get into why in one of my next clips. But little stuff like wearing like feather earrings. I know that used to be like a huge thing back in the day, where there was like a metallic feather on either side of the ear, or more like a actual like feather, like a bird feather. So you can do stuff like that. When it comes to the angel aesthetic, I like to also think of swans and how they're just sweet and peaceful and angelic, and really just try to go off that vibe. Think like fluffy stuff, like anything with like cotton, like you know, like those dresses. Sometimes they do it for like holidays, for like Christmas. They'll have like a Mrs. Santa Claus themed outfit, and it'll have like puffs on it, like white fur or like white cotton. You want to find something with that type of fabric because I think it makes it look really like innocent and pure. So just play with different type of fabrics that you feel like make you look that way, because you know your skin better than anyone. So this is definitely one of my favorite aesthetics, and I like to use it a lot. I also love the halo effect, so you could wear some type of headpiece jewelry, or even if you have an afro, that would give the illusion of a halo. So this next aesthetic is a little bit more niche. So if it's not your thing, I get it, but I've always loved it. And it's like the warrior aesthetic. When I think of the warrior aesthetic, I think of Joan of Arc. You can look up her story. I also think of I don't know if you guys know Xena, the Princess Warrior. It's like a show from like the 80s or 90s, and it's basically like a Greek warrior, but she's a female. I think of like when it comes to Greek goddesses as well, I think of Artemis. She's the goddess of strategy and the hunt. And that can be like very sensual, especially if you're not like for me personally, I'm an Aries, so I don't mind making the first move. I don't mind being in control. So if you are feeling a little bit more dominant, like you know, you want to be on top, I would love this type of aesthetic. It's like really hot. So it just depends on what you like. When it comes to this aesthetic, I think of anything of like chains, or you can do like maybe like BDSM, but not like super like leather and stuff like that. More just like I think of like chains, I think of like gold, I think of silver, I think of different types of like shorts and stuff, like combat shorts, kind of like military and stuff like that. I definitely love that aesthetic. Think like Janet Jackson when she was doing like her military stuff, like how you're in control, you're dominant, but still sexy in a way. So it's definitely a fun niche if you're into stuff like that. So the next aesthetic is going to be more like a goddess archetype. Now, there's so many different ways you can do this. There's goddesses across like pretty much every ethnicity or religion or race or anything like that. But if you want, you can put your own little spin on it, and maybe you can pull from different cultures and stuff like that. So when I first think of goddess, I think a lot of people, at least here in America, think of like Greek goddesses and stuff. But with my my background on researching things, so there's so many different goddesses that come to mind. So there's so many different ways you can play into this. You can do more like an earthy aesthetic and come off more like Gaia, like a mother of the world goddess, like, oh, I'm earthy, curly hair, stones, that kind of vibe, and you can really play with that. Or you can be a little bit more pristine, like one of those goddesses that are like really clean and sparkly and only come down like in a bubble, and you can wear like all white and basically like, carry yourself a certain way. So I feel like the goddess archetype is more mentality than clothes, if that makes sense. But there's so many different ways you can play into this aesthetic based off what type of you don't really have to work with any deity or anything. You can just see yourself as a goddess and have your own signature look and decide what makes me stand out. So this is definitely one of my favorites I like to play with. So this next archetype is definitely one of my favorites. It's the fairy archetype. You can say the fairy, the pixie, the fae, whatever you call it. And it's definitely one of the funnest. This you can definitely OD on glitter. I'm talking from head to toe. It's gonna be on you for the next couple of days, but it's worth it. You don't have to actually wear wings if you don't want to, but if you do, why not? Like literally, why not? Especially those cute like little ones you can get from the dollar store. They're like really light and stuff, or you can go all out and actually invest into a really cool pair. But what I also like about this is playing with your jewelry. There's different types of earrings. Like, even if your ears aren't pierced, you can get jewelry that kind of looks like an elf ear or like a fairy ear. And you can play with that aesthetic. You can definitely contour your makeup, do like little freckles in your face, and really just play with your aesthetic. Do more of like a cottage core, fairy core type aesthetic. I really do enjoy it if you're feeling a little bit more earthy and you want to play into that archetype. It's a lot of fun. I would also suggest either like really simple clothing or it's extremely elaborate clothing with like layers and different colors and different fabrics and different textures to really give like that medieval look. You know what I mean? So this is definitely something fun to do if you're more artsy. So my next aesthetic is definitely one of my favorites. I like to call this the bird aesthetic. I'm sure you guys have seen this throughout pop culture and different forms of media, but it's essentially looking like a bird. You can do a peacock, which is more of a um like glamorous type of look. You can just do like those big poofy feathers, how people used to do back in the 1950s, or you could take it all the way and just play with the feather look. Obviously, you don't have to go out your way and wear a whole bunch of these. You can just wear like something that has feathers on it. There's lots of different types of lingerie you can look into, or you can make something yourself if you're crafty. But this is definitely something I enjoy. If you like to do makeup, you can do like cut off the wing of your eyelash and only put that on the tip, and it'll definitely give like basically like the outer corner of your eye, like just like the tip of it, and it will give like that bird look. I already have kind of like what they call like Asian eyes or whatever, so I kind of have that aesthetic naturally, but it definitely gives you like that phoenix look. So it's really, really nice. And I showed you guys some videos and pictures just so you can understand the aesthetic of like what I'm talking about. And do you know how when people do like animal face paint, but it's like makeup, not really face paint, for Halloween and stuff, you can definitely do that like with a bird aesthetic and find like a different look that you want. When I think of birds, I think spots and feathers and all these beautiful things. So you don't have to do like freckles, but you can just do like little spots, like if that makes sense. Like and obviously this is something playful, this is something fun, so you don't really have to take yourself too serious. It's really just about what you have available and how much fun you want to have with your look. So this next aesthetic is what I like to call the forest nymph. So the nymphs were like spirits that lived in trees, sometimes water, like water nymphs too, but they mostly lived in trees and stuff like that. So I think of this earthy boho aesthetic, like a hippie aesthetic, with a little bit of hints of like Romani culture and Arabic culture when it comes to the wraps, and then a hint of like African culture when it comes to the waist beads and the bands and just the different forms of jewelry and stuff like that. This one would be like there's minimalism and then there's maximalism or something like that, and this would be like to the max. You really want to go OD with the jewelry. If you like to wear perfume, you really want to like do like patchouli, just something really earthy. And really this aesthetic, I know a lot of girls kind of already dress like this, but you can definitely make it a little bit more sensual. Another way you can do this is just by wearing body wraps. Like you can buy those chic little boho scarves and just wrap your body in just scarves. Like literally, you don't even have to do like clothes or like find like any different pieces if you don't want to like spend any money or something like that. So just scarves and different pieces of jewelry and stuff can definitely give this beautiful natural aesthetic. So the last category for our spooky season is going to be the vampirist. Now, I know there's lots of different like different types of vampires. I know most people think of like the fangs and stuff, or bats or something, so you can definitely do it more spooky. But I was a big Twilight fan, still kind of am. So if you wanted to do something a little bit more modern, like a really sparkly look, even if you are a woman of color, you don't have to make your skin pale. But what I would actually do is just the opposite, like do like a tan. Just you really just want your skin like one all even color, if that makes sense. If you want to do like a vampire look, because it makes you look like otherworldly and like not human, if that makes sense. But of course, if you want to do the traditional vampire, that's fine too. With this, I would do like a smoky eye, add a little bit of like red to the waterline, maybe like a red lip. Do more like 90s stuff. Like in the 90s, they had more of a more like smoky look, if that makes sense. I feel like nowadays people don't do like smoky eyeliner and stuff like that. They do like the clean girl makeup and stuff like that. So with this, you really want to be you want to have fun with it. There's nothing wrong with having a heavy hand. When I think of vampires, I think of like royalty and like old-timey aesthetics and stuff, where they're wearing like a lot of heavy makeup and stuff like that. I would also do like some Victorian fashion, maybe like some skirts, and just make it fun. Make it whatever that you feel like your favorite representation of vampires. And I tried to include some pictures of like Black women and women of color, just so that if you're not aware of the different vampires, you can look up these women and follow their aesthetics, because they definitely all have their own. But I definitely hope you enjoyed this video and found it fun and a little bit like a reliever, because I know sometimes on my channel my topics are really heavy, so I wanted to do something fun for the season. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and have a beautiful day.